If we take all of these three together, we really are talking about capacitation. What is our capacity to be flexible and resilient in the face of crisis, ongoing change, and opportunity? And so I would like to leave you with some of these ideas. Building success requires three things: capability, competence, and credentials. Capability for companies is about having the right infrastructure, systems, investments, operations, assets, resources to deliver on the value proposition. For individuals, those of us who are employed in various fields, it's about having the right psychological, physical, and mental capacity to get the job done. Competence, it's about the SKAs, skills, knowledge, and aptitude. It's about sustaining our capacity to do the capability to do the job. For regions and companies, it's the right bench strength among our human resources and our work teams to sustain our ability to succeed. For individuals, it's about also our personal SKAs to advance our careers. Credentials are public signifiers. They identify us in terms of our ability to support and sustain success. For companies and regions, it's about having the right experience, proof of concept, proof of capability, if you will, in order to demonstrate bona fide strength to succeed. For individuals, whether that's our supplier or our customer or whom. And for individuals, it's the right educational and professional credentials as well as work experience to support our claims to do the job. In the end, whatever we do, however we do it, it really is all about one thing. It's about people. Without, as Jim Collins would say, if you don't have the right people on the bus, you go absolutely nowhere. Xie, thank you. Questions? Well, I'm more concerned about time. Any questions? Concerns? Considerations? You're all nicely sleeping. Yes, Jean. Could you go to the mic so we can hear everything? I'm a little deaf. Sorry about that.
When we look at history, it's been very much a matter of a group of people, normally a nation or a combination of nations, trying to take over assets or people or whatever from other countries. More recently, it's been Britain, then the US, and the next one is likely China. So, in addition to what you mentioned, what could the impacts be?
I'm sorry.
In addition to what you mentioned, what could the impacts be? On one side, a little bit of the political, because it will have some impact on the economical aspects too, and obviously on the supply and logistics side.
Okay, good question. Not sure if I can answer it, but it's a good question. I personally think that the era of control has created too many problems. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this. I think that what we're really talking about is developing cooperation, collaboration. I personally think that there will be peace in Afghanistan because the Chinese will broker it because there's a financial outcome, an economic outcome. The Russians won't do it because they can't, and the Americans can't do it either. I think what we should be prepared to do is to work with a country like China, not because they're going to control anything, but because we can all benefit in the end. It's about collaboration and cooperation, not worrying about who owns it. Now, that may be pie in the sky and naive on my part, and I'm more than willing to admit that. Will the Chinese want to control? My suspicion is no. I'll even go so far as to say, are they capable of controlling? I don't think so. For all the grandness of a 5-year plan, the order of magnitude in China, and I keep referring back to that, is such that if you think that 5-year plan, just as I briefly outlined it, actually has results as per plan, be disabused of that. It doesn't work that way. China is not a monolith. It's regions, it's cultures, it's languages, it's different economic zones. There is nothing in China that is such that you can say, when I go from one part of China to the other, it's the same thing. It isn't. So the ability to control, I don't think so. I think the best word that ever came back, response that ever came back was one of the premiers said to someone who argued about some Western leader who said, your human rights issue is the problem. First thing he said is, yes, it is. Second thing he said, if you think changing this society is easy, tell me how you would do it if you had 1.4 billion people to handle. I have to feed them. I have to house them. I have to educate them. Right? Don't tell me what my priorities are. So control is not necessarily the term. I don't think I answered your question, but that's about all I can do. Sorry. Yes.
Victor, you mentioned a number of times that the Chinese are doing this because they will not tolerate a barrier to that commercial success that they're seeking. Juxtaposed to that, of course, is the United States policy in respect to security.
Yes.
And we see that problem every day on our own borders, and we are cousins. When you have talked to the Chinese and you talk to other people in the logistics industry and politicians, what are you hearing? What do you understand has to happen to both secure the border and yet have that capability of product flow?
Yes. It's a very serious issue for Chinese, and maybe it gets back to the control issue. Because you have some renegade out there who's going to take milk powder and do weird things to it and kill people. This is just internal, never mind export. It's kind of hard to control that because there are just so many